On this edition of the Jesters Court, the team hits the road for its first trip of the year. We'll show you why that trip got off on a sour note in Music City, but managed to avoid being all shook up in the shadows of Graceland. Coach Farrell will break down the good and not so good in Nashville. We will get to know the captain and get a training tip from one of the Jesters newcomers. The Jesters Court starts right now. The Jesters have returned from the road and are back at Buffalo Wild Wings, your soccer headquarters. Come in for the Champions League final on Saturday and chow down on stadium-inspired food like the Mexicali street corn and the ultimate nachos. And we welcome you to another edition of the Jesters Court. Paul Bourne along with head coach Kenny Farrell. And coach, you come back from that road trip. It didn't go quite as you had expected. You were hoping for better results. Just tell us what went wrong, I guess.
Well, I don't know. What went wrong is we didn't, win the first game and we tied the second one. I think the second result was okay. The first result is disappointing. I think we were a little naive in how we handled the second half of that game. It was their first home conference game, and they had a crowd behind them, and we kind of, instead of being a bit more mature in how we handled, we were 2-2 halfway through the second half. And we were looking for a win instead of being cagey and allowing them to make mistakes and maybe pounce on it. And they ended up going on, getting the third goal and going on to win the game. That was disappointing. The Memphis game, second game on the road trip, not disappointed at all. I might be disappointed that we missed a couple of opportunities to win the game. But when you go away from home, you want to bring something back, and we did. And as I say, it's probably a 1,000-mile round trip. And it's very tough on the players, and believe it or not, we're the only team in the division that has to do that. And so I give them a lot of credit for the Saturday night game.
And we'll address that a little more when we get to our Ask the Coach segment. But the things got off to a rough start in Nashville on Thursday night. Let's take a look at the unhappy highlights. The Jesters taking the field and greeted not so warmly by the Nashville fans.
And forward, number 20, Ryan Reed. The New Orleans Jesters are coached by Kenneth Farrell.
Funny stuff from a good Nashville crowd, but the Jesters silenced them early. 5th minute, Jordan Kenoshi with a beautiful cross and Rolando Sanchez with an even prettier finish, 1-0 New Orleans. But 6 minutes later, Nashville ties it on a free kick as somehow Fazla Alihadzik is able to find the back of the net to tie it. In the 37th minute, Ryan Reed lifts this free kick into the box, and Jordan Kenoshi takes an elbow to the face. It's a penalty, and Kenoshi converts the PK to give New Orleans a 2-1 lead. But on literally the last play of the half, this corner kick is not cleared by Czech Youth, and on the second chance, Nashville is able to convert as Niall Smith can't clear it off the line. It's 2-2 at the half. As tough as that goal was, the Jesters came out flying in the second half. Ralph Lee Price wins the ball and sends it beautifully over the top, but Kenoshi's first touch betrays him, and we remain tied. In the 63rd minute, Nestor Peralta with a great chance, but it's just deflected away by Nashville. 2 minutes later, Sanchez with a great ball into Tony Giudice, who gets the head to it, but can't beat the Nashville keeper. And you just got the sense the missed opportunities would cost New Orleans, and 2 minutes later it did. Nashville FC on the counter, and Eugene Callahan gets the goal to make it 3-2. Then things started to get heated a few minutes later. Niall Smith getting a yellow card. The teams come together with some pushing and shoving. 75th minute, Nashville with the dagger. Off the Jesters turnover, Jordan Wright puts it away. He would add another as Nashville wins 5-2.
Had the opportunity to score, and it was big times. I thought we had the game, but then everything changed.
I just get elbowed in the mouth. I told the referee to watch the guy's hands. He was swinging him about. Ended up elbowing me in the mouth, and I managed to score the penalty.
You guys are 2-2 and had a ton of opportunities. Is that maybe the frustrating part, that you guys could have taken the lead and had a 3-2 or 4-2 lead there in the second half?
We could have taken the lead and the game could have been a different game. I mean, 2-1 at half-time. Going in at half-time would have been perfect. I also had a chance to make it 3-2 early on in the second half. So we had chances, but it's just the way it goes.
Most of the goals are mistakes, especially the second one. I should have done a better job clearing it. The first one shouldn't have gone all the way to the back post, but like just embarrassing result at the end of the day. I think they were just a little bit better at getting crosses into the box. I think that's why they're a bit more, they hurt us a little bit more. And towards the end, we were pushing on for the winner and just hit us when we were tired, basically.
So, Coach, as we look at some of the match stats, this was just a frustrating game. Should have been into the locker room up 2-1, could have taken a 3-2 lead a couple of times, and you end up losing 5-2.
Yeah. 3 minutes in injury time of heading towards the halftime whistle. They score off a poorly cleared corner. Very tough to take. They go in with the momentum. We go on little heads down, try to get ourselves organized for the second half. And then when we come out with the second half again, and you were there, Paul, you saw 3 great opportunities to score, and they never really threatened until halfway through the second half. And when they went 3-2 up, we have to take some risks to try and get back in the game. It left ourselves wide open at the back. And they scored a couple late on, but we had no option but to go for it.
So with that result, the game in Memphis just 48 hours later became vital. Let's take a look at the highlights from the game Saturday night in Memphis. New Orleans on the field for the second game in 3 days, and Jose Santos getting his first starting goal for the Jesters and making a nice punch save in the 15th minute on this Memphis opportunity. The Jesters didn't push the pace early, but in the 24th minute, a good chance here, but Keir Hannity's strike just misses the target. Ibrahim Belkouche getting his first start as well, and he hammers one from long distance and doesn't miss by much. Best chance of the half, Hannity's corner finds Mason Maurice on the back post, but he puts the header wide, and it is scoreless at the break. In the 60th minute, Memphis threatening, but Santos handles this cross to keep it 0-0. Best chance of the game for Memphis as Santos can't punch it out of danger, and the header goes just wide of the net. 79th minute and 2 great chances for the Jesters. Jordan Kanoshi with a great effort cuts it back, gets the shot off, it's saved, and Maurice is there for the follow but just pushes it wide. Just 2 minutes later, Maurice with a great cross to Kanoshi, who heads it down, and it bounces off of the crossbar and over the net. The Jesters get a point on the draw but leave Memphis knowing the result could have been better.
We decided to play more of a 4-1-4-1, in which we sort of sat back more and let the other team try and break us down from that way. That way, in the first half, we could sort of soak up the pressure and try and hit them on the break that way.
In the second half, you guys got some opportunities. Obviously, we would like to have put those away, but you come out of here with a point, which is obviously the most important.
Yeah, from my opinion, it's 2 points dropped. I mean, it's good we got the clean sheet away from home, but with the chances we had, I think we were the more dangerous team going forward. But most of all is that we came away here with the result.
You had a couple opportunities I know you wish you could have put away.
Yeah, I did. I had 2 that I'm going to be having nightmares about, and I'll definitely be owing the team 2 more in the future.
Jesters fans may not know you go to Memphis, so how weird was it for you to be a visiting player in Memphis?
Oh, yeah, it was definitely fun. I mean, definitely didn't hold back. I didn't miss those on purpose or anything. Yeah, it was nice being back, but at the same time, New Orleans is my city.
I felt really good. My first game with the Jesters, I felt really comfortable. I'm glad the boys were able to bounce back from the other night and felt comfortable playing with them. I had a talk with the back line before the game, and we cleared some things. It's never easy playing with a new team, but we're able to get through it through the whole game.
So we heard from Keir Hannity, who said the game felt like 2 points lost. How do you feel about the result? And share with fans your strategy about how you wanted to save the guys' legs in the first 20-25 minutes of that game.
Go into Memphis, and we've got basically 4 injuries. It was absolutely bruising, and 2 of the defenders played in that Memphis game injured, and 2 other players were not able to play. So we were weakened by the squad, and they went out. We played a low pressure. We soaked pressure in the first half, and we created more chances than them. And by the end of the game, our legs started to get with us, and it was their first home ever MPSL game. Their crowd was behind them. We should have gone on to win it. We missed a couple of open chances before the end of the game. But when you come away on the road with something, you're always happy. Once you win all your home games, you're going to be there.
So after that rough stretch, the Jesters have 2 weeks between games. They return to the pitch on June 4th against Birmingham, and we hope you'll be out there to support the team. making lots of noise as they look to get back in the win column. Now we're just getting started on this edition of the Jesters Court. Later we'll get a training tip from Ibrahim Belkouche, and we joke around with the captain. But up next, Coach Farrell will take you through the highs and lows of that Nashville game in our Coach's Breakdown. That's next here on CST. This edition of the Jesters Court is presented by Heineken. Open your world. By Rockin' Bowl. Also by Vincent Guard Service. Experience has no substitute. And by Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
I wasn't born in America, and arriving here wasn't easy for me. They didn't even say my name right. I thought I'd never fit in. But over time, I gained their respect, and that respect turned into admiration. Admiration into love. And the world better be ready, 'cause I'm an American now. My name is soccer.
Big plays, baby, big plays. Is that Mike?
Yeah, he lost his wall or something. He's on his way.
Classic Mike.
The B-Dubs Fast Break Lunch Menu. Fast, affordable lunches with a side of serious sports action. Dine in or take out. Weekdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Welcome back to the Jesters Court, and it's time to go inside the game with our Coach's Breakdown, brought to you by Heineken. And Coach, we start with the terrific goal in that Nashville game. Great start, and we say this all the time, it seems like, but one of the prettiest goals you could ever see.
No, it was perfect, really. We'd won a little scrap in midfield, bounced to us, and Ryan Reed wins the ball for us, and starts to attack. He's got space in front of him going to the final third, so he starts to run towards the defenders, who are a little indecisive. The player never came to close him, and there was a tracking player to the wide player, who was Kenoshi on the outside. And what happened was they became flat, and he picked the perfect time to split them. And if you watch, as the defenders become flat, which is what you never want, and they leave a channel, they put Kenoshi in. So when he goes in, he takes his first touch towards him, and it's excellent. So he threw one of his regular, tricks, and puts the defender off shape, and sends in a beautiful cross to Rolando, who's timed his run perfectly with a perfect finish and puts the ball in the back of the net. I don't think you can ask for a better goal than that. You really can't. It's perfectly finished.
Now, midway through the second half, the game is tied at 2 when Nashville breaks through with the eventual game winner. But prior to that, the Jesters had several chances to grab the lead, and because of those near chances, the team may have been pressed too far forward.
Yeah, they were, but what I'm trying to get us to understand is where we are and what stage of a game we're in and where we're at. We're 2-2. The pressure should be piling up on Nashville at this stage. And we're halfway through the second half, and there's an opportunity. We've had a couple of opportunities to go into the lead, and then Kenoshi gets the ball and he's going in the final third. If you look at the goal, we've got 3 players in front of the ball. We've also got our 2 wingbacks, fullbacks pushed up, which means that no one's thinking about, if the ball breaks down, counterattack. No one's thinking about it. We don't hold in midfield. We've pushed up because Jordan sent the ball in, Jordan Rice, and when the ball's dispossessed, Niall is pushed way up the field, our left back's pushed way up the field, and he has to recover. So where I would prefer a conservative kind of risk-taking at that point, halfway through the second half, 2-2 to Nashville, thinking they need the win more than we do. We just need to take something out of it. And I thought that was a bit naive. We pushed everybody forward, they counterattacked, and as you see, they finish it 3-2 down with 20 minutes to go. We just have to open up, and we go for everything. They score a couple of more goals. It doesn't reflect the game, but I think we need to be better in game management than that.
So a tough loss in Nashville, and you got an injury in that game as Ryan Reed gets hurt, and that opened the door for Ibrahim Belkouche to get his first start, and he's the subject of this week's training tip presented by Rockin' Bull and Ye Old College Inn.
Hi, my name is Ibrahim Belkouche. I'm a central midfielder, and we're going to talk about passing today. With me is Connor and Connor. The biggest mistake is probably keeping their head down. They're so focused on the ball that they don't look up and see what other players are available to them. Ideally, before you even take a first touch, you have a picture in the head, like where do you want to play. And after you take your touch, you have your head up, you see your player, and then you distribute it. So a lot of players, they take their touch and they're panicking in their head, they're looking down, they're worried about the ball, and then they don't know where to go. for their second touch, the second pass. You really have to practice like keeping your head up. So a lot of times I teach players like we'll do a passing drill and we'll do it, everyone's moving around, but you have to keep your head up and make eye contact with everyone. So you're receiving the ball and you're moving around, passing the ball with your head up. If you always keep your head up, you always be aware of the players around you and be able to distribute the ball better that way.
Up next, the Royal Court is here and they are ready to pick the brain of Coach Farrell. Ask the Coach is next on the Jesters Court. It's our town and our team. The New Orleans Jesters are back at Pan American Stadium for the 2016 season. Jesters soccer is great and an affordable entertainment. Single game tickets just $10 and $5 for kids ages 6 to 12. Kids under 6 get in free. Also, family packs are available game days for just $25. To get your Jesters tickets, go to nolajesters.com or call 504-312-3979. You see and hear them at Jesters home games at Pan Am. Now they are with us this week for the Jesters Court, minus the purple smoke.
And we'll go bloody mental. La 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 la. All right, we're the Royal Court. We want to present some awards to some of these players here. This first award is going to Jordan Kanoshi for his header that can't get to the net, so he's the goalless wonder of the week. Next, for his 2 yellow cards on the trip, we're going to dub him the king of the yellow card, Niall Smith.
So there we go, the one and only Royal Court. We're appreciative of them, even when they walk right in front of the camera.
I mean, that's the nature of these guys. I swear to God.
So they're a little tough on your guys, and now they may be tough on you. It's time for Ask the Coach with Coach Kenny Farrell and members of the Royal Court.
Why is there only one Kenny Farrell, and why haven't scientists been able to replicate you yet?
There is only one of you, thankfully, I think, in some regards.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, the guys are great. I truly appreciate them. But the thing is, you know, they keep you on your toes. They want to win, and they understand where we're going with soccer in this community. So I love them to get. The passion is great. I don't know why there's only one Kenny Farrell. Thanks be to God, probably, you know. But that's all I can say really about that.
All right, let's go to a Twitter question. This is from C. Evans 12 NOLA. How much do you think the travel affects the team, seeing as we have to travel the most of any team in the conference?
No, it's a great question. It does affect us, but we want to play in this division because there's such great teams in it. So we know that we have to go on a trip for 5 days. Everybody else goes for 1 day. You know, they come down, they play, they go home. We don't have a travel partner. It affects them. And you know that the legs are very heavy, and you know that you're playing away from home, so you got to adjust your tactics on the road. So yeah, there's a lot of thought goes into it. It is tough for our players versus some of the other teams, but it's no excuse because we want to play in this league, and we just have to adapt to it.
You and I had talked about this past weekend. It would really be fair if the league would make the other teams play a couple games in a week as well, even though they don't have to travel quite as far. Now we got another member of the Royal Court who has a question for Coach Farrell.
Since you said last week that you are a Man United fan, what is your opinion of the Louis van Gaal firing after the FA Cup win and the Jose Mourinho hiring?
Well, it is tough. You know, like you've got a 3-year job and he's been building for the future. It was tough to walk in after Ferguson, and I know there was a coach in the meantime, you know, that got fired. Look, Van Gaal is a great coach. He had to kind of rebuild in a way. They didn't have the success that they needed. I think it was time for him to go for this reason, not because he wasn't building towards the future, but when you're Manchester United in the Premier League, or when you're Real Madrid or Barcelona in La Liga, or whether you're Brazil in the World Cup, you've got to have standards that if you don't meet them, you're accepting the fact that you're not meeting that standard. And Manchester United need to be 1 or 2 in the league. They need to be in the Champions League. And if you accept, it's almost like you send a message that it's acceptable. It's not acceptable for those.
All right, another one from Twitter. This is from Colin O'Collin, who asks, Coach, we need to improve to beat NFC and CFC. What do you plan to focus on in training with 2 weeks until the next match?
Well, it's a great question. We have 2 weeks to get prepared. First couple of days, hopefully we'll get healthy. There's not serious injuries, but there are some players that are injured. our possession is good, our finishing, we were creating chances, we weren't finishing as clinically. We could have come away, actually, as you well know, Paul, you were there. We could have come away with 6 points. The finishing needs to get better. But the other thing is, the most important thing, Colin, is the game management. When you're on the road, we were a little naive at times, a little impulsive. We were so concerned about not playing the game clock and not understanding where we're at times. I want to talk to the team about that and make sure we manage games correctly and that we adjust to situations. So like finishing is one. We got back to clean sheets, which is something that we've got 3 goalkeepers that are under pressure now and a defense that's under pressure with many players looking to play. Clean sheets is important, but game management. I mean, the experience of, being able to play it out and get the win and get the result that you want is most important right now.
All right, we've got another question from the Royal Court, and it's the man who handles the smoke for our fan group.
All right, so I've got a question for Kenny. Watching the stream Saturday night against Memphis, we saw you guys you were wearing shorts, and man, your legs were white. Was the last time you actually wore shorts when you were actually a player back in the 80s?
All right there, pasty legs. So, what's the answer?
Do you not like my white legs? Do you not like my white curvy leg? No, I'm only kidding. On the road, I normally do wear shorts. At home, I wear pants. And for some reason, they never took a tan. But I am looking for a sponsor for a spray tan just for the bottom half of my body. So anybody out there that wants to jump in, I will do it for the next game.
All right. And quickly, before we wrap this segment up, we got one more question.
So we're hearing more about these youth camps in the summer. Can you give us some more information on that?
Yeah, youth camps and like the integration of our young players. We've talked about the academy before, but we do recreational camps at the Big Easy Sportsplex. Super facility, indoors, air conditioned, all summer long with the pro players. But also we're doing an advanced training camp actually next week up at the Riverbend, up at the Carrollton Boosters facility up there, where our pro players will be involved.
Great Ask the Coach segment, and we appreciate the Royal Court being with us here at Buffalo Wild Wings, and we'll see them a week from Saturday at Pan American Stadium. We hope to see you there as well. Now, coming up on the Jesters Court, we will look ahead with the Jesters, and Keir Hannity is joking around. That's coming up from Buffalo Wild Wings.
I wasn't born in America, and arriving here wasn't easy for me. They didn't even say my name right. I thought I'd never fit in. But over time, I gained their respect, and that respect turned into admiration. Admiration into love. And the world better be ready, 'cause I'm an American now. My name is soccer.
Coach, you just get 1 point in Tennessee, but that 1 point keeps you on top of the conference.
When you go on the road, like you try and take something, whether it's a point or a win on the road. Even a point is a draw is a good result, but you got to win all your home games, and we've done that so far, which is 3 of them, but only 1 conference game. So we're still on target, and our team's getting stronger.
Now, Coach, one of the guys you rely on the most is Keir Hannity, whether it's on the field and in your academies. And this week, he's going to be a guy we get to learn a little more about. It's Joking Around with Keir Hannity.
Hi, my name is Keir Hannity. I play central midfield. I've been with the Jesters this will be my 3rd season. My favourite TV show, I don't watch too much TV right now, but probably Shameless. It's like an English show that was on a few years ago. Yeah, I'd probably say that's my favourite. My favourite movie, Any Given Sunday, with Al Pacino and Jamie Foxx. I really like that film, that's pretty good. Probably Penelope Cruz. She's been in a few good films that I like, so yeah. And she's Spanish, so she's got a pretty cool accent. Well, I've probably got a few. I love Roy Keane. I wish I could play a little bit more like him. He was pretty good. I also like, other players I like would be Xavi Hernandez, who played at Barcelona, and probably Paul Scholes. He's another one, the little ginger magician who was at Manchester United. He was another very good player I like. I have a law degree from England when I studied back there, from Lancaster University. I also got my master's degree out here. Talents, I used to be a pretty good golfer. I played off a handicap of down to 8 or 9 I think. And also I played tennis for the county level and swam for the county back in England. So anything to do with sport, I like to say I'm not bad at doing, so they're probably my only talents. If I wasn't a soccer player, I would probably be, well, since I've got my law degree, I maybe practice law, but I didn't really enjoy that, so maybe something to do with like maybe a PE teacher or, you know, something to do with sport. So yeah, probably PE or something around that would be something I'd be interested in doing. My most embarrassing moment in my soccer career, there's been a few. Probably most embarrassing, most ashamed moment was probably when I was 14. I was playing in the Foyle Cup for Sheffield United in England, and I missed a penalty in the final in sudden death, so we lost. That's probably my most embarrassing / sad thing that's probably happened in my career. My favourite city to visit, well, obviously since I've not been living in England, it's got to be my hometown Sheffield. It's grey, rainy, but you know, home where the heart is, so that's probably my favourite place to visit at the minute. My favourite food has probably got to be an English fry-up. It's like bacon, beans, sausage, you know, it's not particularly healthy, but just a taste of home, and I love it. And it's always got to be smothered in brown sauce and have a hot cup of tea, so that's my favourite.
My favourite food has to be the full English breakfast. That is the bacon, eggs, beans, sausages, like toast, hash browns, everything.
My favourite musical artist or band, I've probably got a few. Arctic Monkeys, being from Sheffield, they're my favourite. They're obviously everything about Sheffield, so I've got to love them.
My favourite musical or artist sort of thing, I'd have to say the Arctic Monkeys, because they're my local band and they're known worldwide.
I also like a bit of rap genre, like J. Cole as well, so he's probably my other favourite.
Kieran, the fellows getting a few days off before returning to training on Wednesday, but as we look ahead to the Jesters week ahead presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, no game this weekend. You return to the field on June 4th, but you are training and you will be staging a match between your first team and your reserves. We will announce on Twitter in the coming days when that will occur. And also, if you want to play for the Jesters Youth Academy, now is the time. Call 504-312-3979. Now, no match this week, but no off week for you and I. We're back next week with the Jesters Court. Here are the times on CST. And on that show, we'll have a behind-the-scenes look at the road trip to Tennessee. And don't forget, all shows are available on Thursdays on my YouTube channel. So the Jesters get a well-deserved couple of days off before returning to training, and some new guys will be joining the team as well.
Yeah, so we just got Mason Walsh in. He's just been, you know, he's been with Bournemouth and the reserves, and young player that played with us when he was 17. His father's a former England international, played for Liverpool, Man City, and Tottenham Hotspur. So he's got good genes.
I would say so. And we'll introduce you to a couple of those players next week. But that's our time for this week. For Coach Kenny Farrell, Paul Boron saying so long from Buffalo Wild Wings, and we thank you for joining us for another edition of the Jesters Court.